Here we see depicted for us the battle between Aragorn and Lurtz. This battle takes place near the end of the Fellowship of the Ring. Lurtz is the leader of the Uruk-hai, that brutal species created by Saruman. This particular fight takes place right after Lurtz has mortally wounded Boromir. Aragorn intervenes in an attempt to save Boromir and dukes it out with Lurtz. While the battle is fierce, Aragorn finally manages to stab Lurtz in the abdomen. Lurtz, who apparently is able to ignore all nocioception, grabs the blade and pulls it deeper in, trying to get close enough to Aragorn to smite him down. If we think about the anatomy of this stab wound in the anterolateral abdominal wall, the blade would have initially had to pierce through the skin and Camper's fascia and then Scarpa's fascia within Lurtz's anterolateral wall, assuming that Uruk-hai have these layers of fascia. Based on the location of the blade, superior to the arcuate line, the blade would have had then to impaled the anterior rectus sheath, move through the rectus muscle, and then into the posterior rectus sheath, before passing on through the layer of extraperitoneal fat and the parietal peritoneum to finally enter into the peritoneal cavity. So there's your review of the anterolateral wall as seen through a stab wound. Here we have depicted for us one of my favorite battle scenes, the Battle of Geonosis. Here, 212 Jedi, led by the purple lightsaber-wielding Mace Windu, take on the droid army led by the Sith Lord Count Dooku in a mission to rescue Senator Amidala, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Anakin Skywalker. During the battle, Mace Windu finds himself battling the bounty hunter Jango Fett. After an entertaining battle scene, between the two, Mace Windu beheads the bounty hunter, who we've already discovered provided the source DNA for the entire clone army. Later, we see Boba Fett, the son of Jango Fett, pick up his father's helmet and have a little moment of grief. Now, if we think about the anatomy involved in a decapitation of this nature, your first thought may be, well, this was a cut near C1 or C2, but you would be wrong. We know, based on the fact that Jango's helmet was left intact, that the cut had to have been lower in the cervical spine. If we take a look at this mid-sagittal image, we can see that a decapitation of this type would have passed through the C-spine actually around the level of C6. Now, since we know that C3 to C5 keeps the diaphragm alive, this particular C-spine injury would have spared the diaphragm. Jango would have been able to breathe, except for the fact that both phrenic nerves would also have been severed with this complete decapitation. I love Mace Windu. He's the bomb. Now we have one of the all-time greatest Jedi-Sith battles, the fight between Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and the super acrobatic Darth Maul. There are a couple of reasons this particular battle is so awesome. First, we see Darth Maul using a double-bladed lightsaber, and well, that's just awesome. And as an aside note, I can't wait to see the three-bladed lightsaber from the Force Awakens previews in action. It's going to be awesome. But I digress. The other reason this battle scene stands out in my mind is because it's the first big Jedi battle of the prequels. There's so much more action in the prequel fights than the original trilogy. I can only imagine that maybe Darth Vader's movements were hindered by his outfit, or maybe his being nearly burned alive just kept him from moving too much. And Luke Skywalker, well, he never really had time to really develop those good fighting skills. And so we're left with mediocre battle scenes in the originals, but then awesome battle scenes in the prequels. Anyway, Darth Maul eventually outfights Qui-Gon and stabs him all the way through the trunk, a through-and-through stab wound. Now, based on the video clip of the stab, I would guess that it happened around the level of the L1 vertebra, which means that the lightsaber would have penetrated through the stomach, through the pancreas, as we can see here, and then eventually passing through the aorta just below the aortic hiatus. Because we all know that I ate 10 eggs at 12. Yeah, that's right.